Our next inductee tonight from Redwood High School Class of 1990, Cory Shakarian. Cory was one of those old school Ironman athletes who played varsity football his sophomore, junior, and senior years. This is almost unheard of in today's age of sports specialization. And by the time Cory graduated, he was his team's captain and MVP of all three sports, and recognized by elite coaches as a Redwood Athlete of the Year. Now this, a longtime friend and competitor from a rival high school was quick to point out this was no easy feat considering that Cory received the attention and was covered by the best athletes on every opposing team he faced. In fact, during his playing days, with the exception of some success in baseball, every Redwood win was considered a hard-fought victory. So when Cory looks back on his playing days, he doesn't necessarily draw from memories of personal championships, but more the victories he had against the eventual league champions. Like the time he, as pitcher, beat Marin Athletic, which went on to win an NCS title. Or the time he led his team to a victory on the gridiron on his homecoming weekend. A game that was made, a victory that was made even more sweet by the fact that he had more family in the stands at that time than at any other game. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure he's made his family proud again tonight. Cory Shakarian.
Great song, right? Wow, what a fantastic night. I want to congratulate all the inductees. I'm honored and humbled to be up here with all of you. So when I first found out about this, I was with my wife at her parents' house and opened the letter. How is this possible? How am I inducted in the Hall of Fame? You know, we never won anything. The people who I knew were in this Marin County Hall of Fame, you know, a lot of these guys and gals went on to play professionally. You know, the idols that I looked up to, guys like Chad Kruder, Buddy Biancalana, Brad Muster, Natu, you know, played professional sports. How am I inducted in this Hall of Fame? Unbelievable. So I was shocked and in disbelief when I first found out. Second thing I thought of immediately, though, was, you know, what I think it took to get there, what the people in my life and the influential people in my life, the mentors, the coaches, the teachers, and my parents who, you know, made it all possible for me in my life. And so what I wanted to do tonight is tell you a little bit about them, tell you some stories. And it all starts, first of all, with my parents. My mom, Sudie Watson, who's here, flew in from Wisconsin to be here. She was a nurse. She worked at night, and what that meant was that I never didn't see her. Went to bed, said goodnight. I woke up in the morning. There she was, back from work. At all my sporting events, every sporting event I ever played in, she was there. And I remember at the time actually discouraging her from coming because I could hear her screaming, "Cory, Cory!" at the games, and I hated that. But now that I think about it now, I loved it. I mean, I loved having her there. But you know, the fact she worked at night, you know, she was there to raise us, my sister Abby and I, and be present in my life at everything I did. Certainly all the sports I played in my life. And you know, I grew up with my stepdad as well in Tiburon, and my stepdad, Jim Watson, who's here tonight with his wife Crystal, he was there for me every minute of my life as well. And he was an attorney, had his own practice, so that afforded him the opportunity to be my coach, to be the president of our little league, to be the coach of my Babe Ruth team, and you know, he was able to go to every one of my events in my entire life as well. in our house, we had a bookshelf full of coaching manuals and how to be a great coach and all this stuff. And he would read that stuff religiously. When I think about it now that I'm a father, you know, they set such a high bar. I don't know how I'm going to get there. I don't know how I'm going to be able to do this with my kids, but I have to. I have to reach that what they you know, instilled in me, and how to, you know, the sacrifice that they made from their lives to be a part of mine. So, thank you, Mom and Jim. My dad, Cory Shakarian, is here. He came in with his girlfriend Lana from Florida, and you know, well, my dad instilled a passion for sports like no other. While he wasn't here all the time, we would spend many nights screaming on the phone back and forth about who the better quarterback was, Joe Montana or Dan Marino, because he was in my, yeah, right? My dad would always argue that Montana had Jerry Rice to throw to, he had Freddie Solomon, whoever to throw to, and Dan Marino had Mark Duper and Mark Clayton. That's all he had to throw to. It was 2, 5, and 6 guys running around. So I think I won though, because I think Joe Montana's a better quarterback. But my dad instilled that passion for sports, and I think that came down a generation from my grandfather as well, who I want to recognize tonight. My grandfather, George Shakarian, played football at the University of Michigan in the 1930s, and he was mentored and coached by a guy that we probably all know pretty well in this room, who was an All-American center by the name of Gerald Ford. And so I do want to recognize my grandfather, who was a heck of an athlete at his time. He actually played freshman basketball and football at Michigan. And he did it in the 30s when it was a depression, and he just had to eat. That's why he played, to survive. So that was pretty inspiring in my life when it comes to sports. Next, I want to talk about my coaches and the people that really mentored and taught me throughout my my career in sports. And started with Coach Bracken in football, Peters and Boro in basketball. In baseball, I had Sincata, Aldridge, and Campagno. Campagno's done a few things recently around here, won a few championships, done things really well. Campagno used to tell stories in the dugout about his Yankees teams when he played at AAA. The guys on his team were Don Mattingly, Fred McGriff, and a guy you probably recognize the name, John Elway, was on his team as well. That team won 37 straight games in professional baseball, which is unbelievable. And so it was pretty cool to have him as a coach leading us at Redwood. And a guy who's been mentioned here tonight as being influential in Heath's life, Coach Endress. Al Endress was a huge inspiration in my life. He was my PE teacher at Redwood High School, but he also coached me. I played 1 year at College of Marin as well, and so he had a tremendous impact in my life. I wanted to share just a few little bits of wisdom that he shared with us that I think you get a kick out of, and kind of some of the sayings that he used to say to us that just hammered them over and over again. One was, practice doesn't make perfect, perfect practice makes perfect. And that was what Al was all about. Over and over and over again in practice. The other thing that is simple, but I always think about today in my work life, is you're only as strong as your weakest link. And what I know he meant by that is it's all about the team. Every person on the team matters. And in my world, I'm in sales and marketing today, but we have sales teams. Every person on that team matters for us to be successful. And each person deserves as much attention as the other. Some of the funnier ones, don't get in a pissing contest with a skunk. What does that mean? Well, he used to tell it to us when we're about ready to fight. That's what he used to tell us. Take the higher ground, you know? When someone's being a jerk, you know, take the higher ground and do the right thing. Be professional. And so that's what I took away from that. The other one, I know there's some kids here tonight. I'm going to keep it a little bit PG-13, but the one that I love, that I actually think of all the time is excuses are like ASSHOLES. Everyone's got one, and they smell like poop. I use a different word. But what he meant about that was be accountable. Be accountable for your actions. When you make mistakes, own up to it. And when I think of that all the time today in my business world that I work in. So my parents, my coaches, my mentors in my life, where they lead me today, I think that it makes me a better husband, the people that have raised me. I think it makes me a better father, better in my work, what I do for my company, and hopefully a little bit better in the community that I live in. And I know that my mom, Sudie, my stepdad, Jim, my dad, Carl, my coaches and that I mentioned before, all played a huge part in molding me to who I am today. So I want to thank all of them. I also want to thank Colin Bly. Who's Colin Bly? Colin Bly is my he's my teammate, was my roommate at school at the University of Michigan. He's my roommate after college here in San Francisco. We played basketball together at Redwood, and he nominated me for this. So Colin, if you didn't do this, you wouldn't have had this wonderful gathering of my friends and family, and so thank you for making that happen. And also recognize just people in my group here tonight who traveled a long way. My brother Nick came from LA, my sister Abby, who came begrudgingly to all of those games mentioned before growing up. And actually, funny story, when I first got my Redwood High School football uniform, I think I was like 15 or whatever, 14, she was 7 or 8. I dressed her up in it and used her as a tackle dummy in our living room. Just crushing a little 7-year-old girl. So thank you, Abby, for being my tackle dummy. And her husband, Joe, joined us. I know I saw some friends here tonight. Roder, Udis, Woods, thanks for coming. Will, thanks for coming. All those wiffle ball games with Will helped me hit bat 469 my senior year, I think. Thanks to you, buddy. So, just want to thank all those people. That's it for me. I really appreciate this. I'm humbled by the honor, and can't believe that I'm a part of this group. I look forward to being part of future years of Marin Athletic Foundation. So thank you.